Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. It is beautiful outside here in St. Louis. And so today the topic is going to be compassion fatigue. So we're going to define it. We're going to talk about what it is, all of that on today. So let's get started. So first, let me define what compassion fatigue is. So compassion fatigue is characterized by emotional and physical exhaustion, leading to a diminished ability to empathize or feel compassion for others. It's often described as the negative cost of caring. I don't know if you're one of those people who just has the biggest heart and cares. If you ever heard that someone say like, oh, you care too much, or whatnot. So that is compassion fatigue defined. So let's dig into it and talk about it some more. So I'm sure you may have heard of the term burnout. That's a common term that is associated with compassion fatigue as well. So and burnout is just like feeling dried up, feeling empty, just excessive stress or exhaustion too. So let's kind of think about some of the careers that we typically hear as um, may potentially struggle with burnout or compassion fatigue and things of that nature. So one, my background is in professional counseling. They have us take all sorts of courses to teach about compassion fatigue because it truly is a real thing. It truly is. And taking care of self is definitely important in my line of work when you're working with people. But we all know just this past year has been crazy. It's we've experienced things that we haven't experienced before, and emotions maybe that we haven't experienced before, and that are new to us. And compassion fatigue is not only affecting professionals or connected to the work that people do, it is also entering into people's homes. It's entering into everyday life. So that's why I wanted to bring attention to compassion fatigue, talk about it, because sometimes we can experience something and really not have the words to really articulate what that thing is, right? So if you ever think about examples as far as like this entering into your home, if you ever think about maybe being a caregiver, caring for a loved one, there can be some compassion fatigue connected to that as well, and even some other our children, being a teacher, mom, dad, and all of these other things. Obviously, we care about them. So there can be some burnout and compassion fatigue connected to that. Some other like very common careers you would hear about compassion fatigue is nurses, hospital staff. Like I'm sure it's real out there. Even secretarial staff, front desk, all of those type of fields, working directly with people day in and day out, and then having to leave the job to go home, and working with our family is also still working with people. We have to have compassion. We don't want to, feel burnt out and exhausted from work, that when we get home, we literally have nothing left to give. I don't know about any of you, but have you ever had a day where you just like, okay, I talked to enough people today. I've met my quota. I'm done for the rest of the day. And then it's like, okay, I still have to be a mom. Some of you, you still may have to be wife or sister, whatever that role is. It doesn't. just go away or whatnot, just because we, we're we're burnt out on people today. So those are very normal occurrences that happen. It's important, one, that we recognize what it is that we're dealing with. When we recognize what it is that we're dealing with, then we're able to effectively address it. So I don't know if you've ever been in a space where you didn't know what was going on. So you addressed it, but it wasn't effective. So meaning maybe you turn to a negative coping skill versus something that's effective and that's going to actually provide some sense of relief for you in that situation. So other like careers that deal with compassion fatigue on a regular basis. DFS, like social services, as well. Teachers, be kind, be kind to our teachers. Oh my gosh, be just love on them, love on your kids' teachers. Because I can only imagine. And then church leaders. So I'm talking about pastors. If you are a director over any type of program area, there's also compassion fatigue that can occur in those sorts of settings. And now, just a year into the pandemic, even more people are struggling or suffering with some sense of compassion fatigue more than ever. Even the kids. Come on now, even the children. So we want to be able to articulate that for them as well, right? Because kids don't, they definitely are impressionable and may not really fully understand everything that's going on and everything that's connected to what they're dealing with. And we know that, again, they may not even be able to articulate when we ask them, how are you doing? I don't know about y'all, but I asked my son, how was school today? He gave me one good, nothing else. I have to, so we have to be intentional in asking open-ended questions. And I actually say to him, good is not, I need more than that. So we have to actually work with them and teach them how to articulate as well. And part of that is example, like us being the example. So some of the symptoms that are connected to compassion fatigue, feeling tired, exhausted in your body, low energy. I don't know if anybody else have ever felt like numb, especially with you just numb to everything. Like you just heard some not so good news and it doesn't impact you as it usually would have. That's sort of that numb feeling, or just feeling withdrawn from everything that's going on. Difficulty sleeping. You would think if you was fatigued, you would want to go to sleep, but that's not always the case. You can have difficulty sleeping, just being unable to focus on things and concentrate. And many jobs and many things that we do, we need to be able to focus and concentrate. So it does impact other areas of your life, as well as like physically. You know, you can physically feel pain in your throughout your body just from compassion fatigue. So it's all interconnected as well. The main thing we want to touch on is prevention, right? So if you're in this space, what are some like practical things that I can do? What That's what we want to know, right? So that's what I want to touch on. And I am diehard a self-care person. I push self-care all the time. I talk about it all the time. Even to the youth, self-care is important regardless of how old you are. And I know I remember being younger, you hear your parents saying, well, what problems you have? You don't pay no bills, to the kids, but Self-care is even important for them. They can be stressed out, experiencing compassion fatigue and other things of that nature as well. So we have to be mindful of that perspective. And I love using the example of the airplane example, meaning, that oxygen mask, they tell you, put it on yourself first, then you can help other people. So that same example is important when we're talking about compassion fatigue, taking care of yourself. Because I like people would say, well, I don't want to be, that's selfish to focus on yourself. There is a line with that, that we can cross, that can go into selfishness and things of that nature. But when we're talking about self-care, if you don't take care of you, you you are no good to others. And there are some people who just have the biggest heart and who want to help everybody. And let me tell you something, that is amazing. Being a helper is definitely a gift. But another helpful tip, there's also a balance, right? We have to be able to balance that, and have a part of balancing that is healthy boundaries. I used to be one of those people who I'm volunteering for everything or taking on everything because I want to be helpful. And just literally over the years, I had to learn how to set healthy boundaries. Like, no, Candace, you don't have the time to do that. So don't volunteer for that. You have to know within yourself, okay, is this healthy? Is this not? Do a checks and balance system to determine that as well. Another thing that's very important to recognize, as a helper, you are a resource. You are not someone's savior. So sometimes we get into this mindset of, I want to fix their situation, and end up taking their burden and putting it, taking it on as ours. And that weight can be tremendous. So really, I just got into the habit of reminding myself, I am a resource. I am not a savior. There may be seasons or situations or periods in which you are supporting someone, or whether it's just being a listening ear, whatever that support looks like, but knowing that that is a temporary thing. There's a time frame on that thing. So for me, for setting those boundaries and knowing that I'm just a resource, I'm not a savior. When I'm off work, I'm off work. That's a boundary that I set. If I get off at 6, I'm gonna give my fullness in the 8 hours I'm there working. I'm gonna be diligent, responsive, do all that I can within that time frame. After that, I've learned over time to set separation for clear boundaries, and all it is preserving me mentally and physically, so that I can be a better help to someone tomorrow. So that's important as well. And then this just popped in my mind. Even those who may work grocery stores or food places, I know there has definitely been an increase in experiencing the fatigue that we're talking about today, because not only are we dealing with more people, we're dealing with people who are have been emotionally impacted by this pandemic and everything that's going on. So when people are in their emotions and not um, doing the best themselves, they can come in with attitude, just all sorts of things that they have to deal with. So I definitely kudos to you guys, and pretty much everything I named kind of falls under that essential worker title that we've heard. So definitely grace and love to all of you all out there. Um, so another thing that definitely works for me is engaging in just activities that do not utilize my brain power. It's like once I'm done, I could have had a tough day, just mentally, and I just want to do something where I don't have to really think about it. But whatever that fun thing is for you, I know it's different for everybody. It might be for someone playing a video game, um, versus a word search, just whatever that is for you, because we all have different, likes and hobbies and different things like that. Um, Listen, this one is huge. Sometimes we just need to learn to say no. And that was honestly something that I've just struggled with over the years and really had to learn how to do that as well. That's not always easy, but for some people, they'll tell you no in a heartbeat, have really great boundaries and know when you have crossed the line, like, no, I ain't gonna be able to do that one. Catch me next time. And that is okay. It is okay to say no when you can't do things. Um, Also, social supports are an amazing outlet when it comes to some of these things. So, whether it's hopping on a FaceTime, talking to friends versus game night in person, whatever you need for social supports, those are important. I know people may be connecting via Facebook in the rooms that they have, but whatever create, there are so many creative ways we've learned over this past year just to stay connected and get connected if you're uncomfortable or not able to be in person as well. At the end of the day, let whatever you do today be enough. Let that sink in. Let whatever you do today be enough for today. It'll still be there tomorrow. We pick it back up and we start again tomorrow, but definitely take care of you. That does not mean you do not care, you know, but as far as have compassion for you first and then move from there. So I hope you were able to take something from today's LifeWire Lifeline, and we shall see you next time. Bye.